Michael, first of all, you're the new England senior women's team head coach. How does that feel?
I'm very excited. Having been with England for as long as I have and watching the growth of the players, it's an honor, of course. But I'm looking to continue and push forward with everything we've accomplished over the last couple of years.
And what can we expect from a Michael Molster England side as a whole? What's your philosophy and style of play?
So the philosophy really is developing the best players we can. It is putting together a team, putting together a team that can compete. But my first task really is to just continue to work with the development of every individual player, whether they are the most senior player like Laura Merrifield down to the newest player who's coming into the program. Um, I'm a coach I have a tremendous amount of coaching experience at different levels, at all different levels. Um, Aggressive play is really going to be a benchmark. Having coached the defense for Team England for the past 5 years, 4-year cycle that was stretched to 5. It's really about showing the athleticism that England has, working on the stick work and all the really the gameplay, the work within the game that always needs development, no matter where you are and what level you are. But also, keeping up that style of play that really puts pressure on other teams. But really, my focus, at least in the short term, is on the individual players.
Yeah, and you've got your first training session with the team quite soon, I think, in
Right.
January.
Yes.
You mentioned a couple of things there, but what exactly are you looking to do during that session?
It's really looking to get to know the younger players coming up, seeing how that they compete with the more established veteran players within the program, fostering that growth and that ability to play with each other, but really trying to hone in on certain style of play for the individual, what they succeed at, what they need improvement on, and working on those areas of improvement. It's really identifying the abilities of every one of the players, and working forward to kind of nurture and grow as an athlete on the field and as a lacrosse player. My biggest thing, and I use the word development, is working on the concepts within the sport and pushing those down to the players and getting them comfortable with the different concepts that are inherent to every game of play, whether it be this offense or that defense. It doesn't matter. I'm not pushing a type of offense or even a type of defense right away. It's more about that individual development.
Okay, and you mentioned as well that sort of historically you've had a bit of a focus on defense and goalkeeping, and that's what you've been working on with the England team. How will this influence your approach as a head coach? Will you be a little more defensively minded, or how does that come into it?
Well, the goal of every coach should be to hire, and find assistants who can fill in all the voids within, your gameplay. I do believe that, a really good offensive coach understands defense, and a really good defensive coach understands offense, because you're having to compete against them and determine strategy against them. I think my focus is going to be a little bit to the offensive in the beginning. I feel that with a lot of the veteran players coming back, the style of defensive play that's been established, we can continue. It'll be much easier to continue that. And even for the younger players coming up, because they'll see the individuals that are their level play. I've used phrases recently like, pace of play, speed of the ball, the aggressiveness and the athleticism needed to compete at that top level. It's allowing the younger players to witness that, but maybe pushing my focus a little bit more onto the offensive end, the short term, just to see where we are, what we need to develop, and what concepts we need to work with within the team.
And you've got huge experience, obviously, and especially as an assistant coach. But what will it be like, do you think, to make that step up to head coach? And is that existing relationship with the team a positive factor for you?
I think it is. I think it is because I am a communicator. I do engage the players both as a group but also individually. So that I think is a big advantage, and it's not something that the players are sitting back going, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen?" New person coming in. But every assistant who's ever, no matter whether it's in sport or in an office, you look at things and how they're done, and you want to build on the positives that have been working, and then you want to kind of really just, I don't want to say fix, but reset and restart the things that need to be worked on. And that perspective I have. It's not like I'm sitting down today, not knowing the team and having to look through film and getting that kind of superficial view of it. I have a more tangible understanding of the team and the needs, which I think will allow me to begin to immediately address them.
And you were assistant back in 2015 with the under-19s, where
Yes.
the team won bronze, and then again this summer with the seniors in 2022. Yeah, this summer with players such as Emma Adams, Liv Wimpenny, Tilly Shires, and they were in both teams. How was that moment watching those players transferring the skills to a senior world championship when they come from the under-19s?
Yeah, there is a big difference in the style of play, level of play when you go from U19, which is now U20, but up to the senior. It's great to see that growth. It's great to see players mature, not only as athletes, because they do mature over time as athletes. They get a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, but really it's the development of their game and watching them. Someone like Tilly Shires, who was a driver but now can do so many more things. What she could do back in U19 was more of a specific role, but now she can do so much more. Same thing with Emma Adams and Liv Wimpenny. And it's really nice to see you have a comfort with them. I remember coming into the squad, back in 2018, and having that familiarity with a few of them was great. It felt more welcoming, but also the growth they've even experienced over that 3-4 year period of time where there was an impasse that I didn't really interact with them too much. Seeing that growth was just it was refreshing. It was refreshing to see that the players are continuing with the game and the love of the game and playing it at the highest level.
And just mentioning the summer again, how did you rate this summer out at the World Championship overall, and the performance of the squad having waited for so long? They had to wait for the extra year. How would you rate that?
Right. We played our best lacrosse. I really think that it's the best I'd seen the team play as a whole. Did we really meet our goal? Our goal was the gold medal game, the championship final, to get that next step up. But I don't feel that we didn't reach where we needed to reach, because our level of play was so much more. It was so much more aggressive, so much more athletic. The style of play was a little bit more, lacrosse, finesse. There was just so many things that just we did so well that I can't see that we didn't meet our goal. Do we want bronze again? No, we don't want bronze again. I do think we established ourselves firmly as the number 3 team in the world, and my job is to get us to number 2 or number 1. That's the goal. And I definitely believe that we have the dedicated players necessary to reach that.
And yeah, you mentioned that you want England to be number 2, number 1 in the world. Where do you see that the key areas are to allow us to continue to make gains on those top 2 teams?
I in areas like just creativity throughout the game, both on the offensive and the defensive end, the concepts that I want to push onto the players and introduce them to, or I should say probably even reintroduce them to, is becoming more dynamic as individuals, which then translate over to the team being much more dynamic. Doing a lot of freelance work on offense, being more aggressive and creating cause turnovers on defense. Our goalie play is solid, and I think that will continue. If we can do those things and work on those things in the beginning, from the beginning, without the pressure of selections of team and reducing squads, having a large group working together, I think that that's going to pay some serious dividends for us down the road.
And just moving slightly, you're taking up a new role at Exeter University, and you've got a number of young players in the England system, such as Alice Ripper, Anna Neville, and then there's also strong programs at Nottingham and Durham with a lot of young England players.
Yep.
I'm just wondering how good and important it is, do you think, to have a strong university system that does invest in the lacrosse program in England?
It is really necessary. I think I said this to somebody just the other day, is that if I calculate the total number of hours that a young player from the United States, a girl who comes up, 14, 15 into that 16 and into college, the number of hours they have a stick in their hand is significant. It's not that way in England just yet. A strong university system does that, and with strong coaching, with strong play and competitive play, it can only foster, growth of an individual player. And it's needed because the national team can only meet so often. The national team can only get together so often. You spend a lot of time considering, we need to have the players get used to each other as a squad. That's why my approach is a little flipped, where it's more about development in the beginning. We're 3.5 years from World Championship. We're a year and a half, 2 years from a European Championship. So my goal is to develop them and to continue to try to make up that small gap that currently exists in their, how often they have a stick in their hand and what they're playing and just developing as players. But the university system can really bridge that gap significantly. And when you have not just one strong university team, but you have a number of strong university teams. Oxford's another one, and there's I can name a few others, that it's going to just speed up the growth, and it has the ability to, in a sense, to my advantage, hand a national coach, just an overall better quality of player from a lacrosse standpoint. Athleticism, never worry about. We have significant and serious athletes in England. It's getting their lacrosse stick in their hand and getting them into those situations where they learn as often as possible.
And just finally, how are you looking forward to being fully immersed in the English lacrosse scene, with England, with Exeter, and with the Fly as well?
Well, it does require a relocation. I use the phrase "all in for England" because that's what I'm doing. I'm looking forward to being introduced to those people outside of the England program. There's numbers of really good quality coaches out there. There are so many more players, and being introduced to them, that's what I'm most excited about. From a lacrosse standpoint, I'm always learning, and I'm sure I will learn from a number of those coaches and even learn from a number of those players. But I'm really looking forward to just experiencing, the full dynamic that is England lacrosse and the culture, and then also trying to augment that in some way and make it a stronger process, a stronger structure. That's my hope as a coach.